Good morning and welcome to Sunday Morning Coffee with Keto Simple. This stream will be starting soon, so grab your coffee, get comfortable, and settle in. We're building a strong and supportive community, so say hello in the chat, ask questions, and feel free to use super chats. Thank you for being here and being a part of this journey. Let's keep it positive and respectful as we connect and grow together. I can't wait to get started. Good morning, everybody. How are you doing today? So very glad to see all your beautiful, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed faces here on a Sunday morning. So very early, so very thankful that each and every one of you are here today. Again, welcome back to Sunday Morning Coffee, friends. Let's jump right in. Grab your coffee, your water, your tea, your diet soda, whatever you've got in your hands this morning. And let me know where you're watching from. If this is the first time joining us, please, 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 please don't be shy. Say hello in the chat. If you're watching the replay, leave a comment. Let me know that you were here. One of the things I love about these Sunday mornings is that there are always new people finding us. And that actually ties directly into what we want to talk about today. One of the things I hear from the outside of this community is that keto and carnivore people are terrified of food. We're afraid of fruit. We're afraid of vegetables. We're afraid of sugar. We're afraid of carbohydrates. And honestly, I think there's some truth buried inside that perception. But I don't think the conclusion is correct. There are certainly people in our community who approach particular foods with a tremendous amount of fear, trepidation, consternation, if you will. There are people who have a very specific reason for avoiding certain foods. But I don't think the message should be about fruit is poison, vegetables are trying to kill you. The conversation I want to have is much more interesting and more nuanced than that. Nuance being one of the biggest words I think we need here. Nuance. There's a lot of nuance and subtlety. Why do we choose the foods that we choose? Why might somebody choose steak, eggs, butter, chicken, fish, or other animal foods instead of a bowl of cereal? Why might someone choose berries instead of a candy bar? These are important questions. I'm just trying to get my chat popped out here so I can make sure I'm not missing anything very important as it comes along live, as I'm always like an hour behind, as you all very well know. But again, why do we choose? Why would someone choose a bowl of cereal? Why might someone choose berries instead of a candy bar? Why might someone dramatically reduce bread, pasta, rice, potatoes, sugar, and other highly processed foods? For me, the conversation isn't about being afraid of carbohydrates. It's about understanding what we're eating, how much we're eating, how nutrient dense that food is, how that food impacts our blood glucose, our insulin response, how filling and satiating. And the most importantly, how it fits the goals of the individual eating it. How does it align with my goals? What are my goals? I have to decide and figure that out. I have to look inwards and figure out what are my goals. What am I trying to achieve? Is it just weight loss? Is it just inflammation? Is it an autoimmune issue? Is it IBS, UC? Is it Crohn's? What are we trying to accomplish? Because that's an important distinction, because I think we've allowed food labels to become identities. We have keto people telling carnivore people that they're doing it wrong. We have carnivore people telling keto people that keto doesn't work because somebody ate a bunch of keto cookies and didn't lose weight. But that's not really a fair comparison, is it? A food product having the word keto printed on the package doesn't magically make the entire keto diet or, the entire ketogenic lifestyle null and void. I see and hear that so very often. I started out keto, but it didn't work for me because of the breads and the pastas and the tortillas and all these things, the cookies and the cakes. It didn't work for me. It didn't work for you because you purchased the wrong things. You were eating the wrong pieces. There's no such thing as a keto food. There's no such thing as a keto product outside of marketing. One thing that we have to understand is ketogenic way of eating is a way of eating that allows your body to get into a ketogenic state. Carnivore is a way of eating that allows your body to get into a ketogenic state. So for all intents and purposes, carnivore is keto. When we're talking about nutrient-dense, satiating, or, foods that are appropriate for every person. Marketing is marketing. Those products can be useful tools for some, especially when they're transitioning away from foods they were eating before. But it can also become a trap if someone believes that replacing conventional junk food with keto-branded junk food is the entire solution. That's where we come in. We are the stopgap. We are the first line of defense here. People who don't know and haven't had anyone to ask, just hearing the word keto and then seeing keto foods on the shelf, may purchase the breads, the cookies, whatever the case may be, and think they're doing keto. They may not do any sort of exploration, research, may not even watch a single TikTok video. And they will find that it may not work for them. I didn't feel any better. I didn't lose any weight. So keto didn't work for me. And it's frustrating. And I think, and this is where I think keto gets unfairly criticized from the inside of our community. Because, again, we're putting labels on things. Because someone tries, again, eating keto, cereal, cookies, candy, bread, what have you, all the other packaged products they can find, and they don't get the results they're expecting. And suddenly the conclusion is keto doesn't work. Carnivore must be better. Well, maybe the problem isn't, again, the concept of carbohydrate restriction. Maybe we need to look at the actual food choices, the overall diet, the amount being consumed, protein intake, satiety, adherence. We're looking at a person's individual circumstances. A label on the front of a package isn't a metabolic prescription. And I want to talk about ketosis itself because I think sometimes we make this far more complicated than it needs to be. The human body is remarkably adaptable. We can use glucose, fatty acids, ketones as fuels. And we balance between those fuels, I should say, and the balance between those fuels changes depending on what we're eating, how long we've been, how long we've gone without food, our activity, our hormonal state. The liver can make glucose through gluconeogenesis, and it can make ketones when the conditions favor ketogenesis. Nutritional ketosis is a physiological state that can occur when carbohydrate availability is sufficiently low. But that doesn't mean our bodies stop making glucose or that glucose suddenly becomes toxic. Our body utilizes various different fuel sources. It's adapted over millions of years to do so. And I think that's why I keep coming back to metabolic flexibility. Our bodies aren't supposed to operate like a light switch where you're either burning carbs or you're burning fat. I think it's going to go back and forth. Our body should be able to seamlessly go back and forth. That doesn't mean that we're eating hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of carbohydrates a day. Not by any stretch of the imagination. Whether it's some vegetables, A carrot. Oh no, a carrot. You know, I know. You know. But, you know, I think that the ability to shift between fuel is a part of normal human physiology. And so, yes, I'm going to sound like a broken record again today, and for that I apologize. But I'm going to keep repeating this because every single day someone new is walking into this community. They don't need more fear. They don't need another purity test. I just found somebody just before coming upstairs today. I found this lady, Queen of Carney. And she had a video, and I shared it on my Facebook. It was a Facebook. Basically, she was standing there in the video with a plate with bacon, eggs, and butter. And the gist of the video was, regardless of that plate of bacon, butter, and eggs, someone would probably nitpick apart what she was eating. She had Costco bacon. Well, that's not clean enough. Well, the eggs are store-bought. Well, they should have been pasture-raised. I think she had Tillamook butter. Whatever. I don't even see that in our stores here. I see their cheese at Costco. Sometimes at the fancier stores. But Tillamook is a dairy producer, I'm guessing. I guess they have butter. I don't know if I've ever seen the butter before or not. Maybe I have. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. But my response to that video was, say it again, louder for those in the front, the middle, and the back. I love finding these new channels. I subscribe to her. She only has 729 subscribers. Let me go ahead here and let me go ahead and put her stuff in here. I want you guys to find this. I want you guys to subscribe to her. Because, again, that's what we're here to do, to find new people, to find new voices, to share those new voices. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Tell her I sent you. Tell her I found her, that I like her stuff, and that I shared it today, so you would find her. Let's jump those numbers up. There's 39 of you across a couple of different platforms. If you all go and subscribe to her, we could get her close to 800 subscribers, get her closer to 800 subscribers. That, trying to get her across that 1,000 threshold, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Can we do it? I think we can. I think we can do it. Because, again, community is so very important. And, again, we don't need fear. We don't need another purity test. We don't need someone screaming that they're poisoning themselves because they ate a strawberry. They need information. They need context. They need to understand why some of us choose the foods that we choose. I think so often we just shout. I see shouting in text form, on Facebook, and the responses and these comments. I see people just shouting down other people without ever explaining why. Instead of telling what they need to do, tell them what you do and why. Why? How has it benefited you? Because just shouting something that you do to somebody else doesn't give them the information, the context. They need to understand why we choose the foods that we choose. And it may have taken you a good long time to figure out what works for you. You still might be in that same process of locating and figuring out what works best for you. It is a long, tedious process that I don't think ever actually ends. But they, like us, need the freedom to figure out what works best for them. And again, that's what I want this community to be. Not a place where we compete over who is the most extreme, who's the most hardcore carnivore, but a place where people can come in, ask questions, learn from our experiences, and begin to make better choices, because that's all that we can ever ask of someone, to start making better choices. But they can't make those choices if we don't share what we do, why we do it, but in a manner that isn't overbearing, that isn't just anxiety inducing. Because I think that that's one of the things that we do. And I'm afraid all the time. I'm afraid every day that we are turning away more people than we're accepting in, without ever actually realizing it. Because how often do people come into these platforms? How many people have watched this channel? How many people have watched other channels, didn't say anything, didn't communicate, didn't let us know they were here? Maybe they came, they saw, I didn't say what they wanted to hear. There's 1,000 other channels that can happen to as well. An infinite number of Facebook groups where people are just going on and on and on ad nauseum about all these things, and they're not ever really looking at how can they be more accepting, how can they be more inviting, how can they be a better vessel for information to get to the people who need it the most. Most of us has, at least for the most part, figured this out. We're here on a Sunday morning, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed before the sun is really even up in most places. Some of you are from the West Coast. Some of you are from Central Mountain, all over the place, other countries. So I implore you, and I'm going to continue to talk about this almost every week, and it's going to get, hopefully I'm able to make it entertaining. Hopefully I'm able to make it not annoying for all of you who do continue to show up, because I appreciate that very much. So grab your coffee, jump in the chat, and let's get into it. Actually today, I want to talk about some coffee today, because this whole week I've switched up my coffee. I'm trying to reduce the amount of fat that I'm taking in. I know that's kind of a weird thing, because I kind of think I was taking in just an absurd amount of fat, okay? Because I was putting in a lot of fat in my coffee with heavy cream. So what I've been doing is I haven't been having hot coffee. This is the first hot coffee I've had all week. I think I might be able to say and make the excuse, it's Sunday. I want to have my coffee on Sunday, okay? But what I've been doing, so this is my hot coffee right here, ladies and gentlemen. Our Bucky's cup, our Bucky, okay? But here in this cup, all the way over here, this cup is iced coffee. Now, this coffee has a little more heavy cream than I would have put in it the other day throughout the week. This has some coffee that I found. I don't even know what brand it is. It's down in the fridge, but it's it's a flavored coffee. I'm not usually a flavored coffee person, but it was intriguing. It's brownie batter coffee. I don't know. It wasn't super. It was just coffee, water, and some natural flavors. But that's a loaded bunch of stuff right there. But it tastes okay. And I'm trying to make this transition. I'm trying to make the transition to drinking iced coffee with just a hint, a splash of heavy cream, just to knock the edge off a little bit. Because again, that'll lower the amount of fat that I'm taking in each day. Because I put fat in my eggs? Yes, I do. Do I have hamburgers? And then do I sometimes pour the fat back over them? Yes, I do. So this is iced coffee, hot coffee, and I have some electrolytes right here. I have a lot of beverages, boys and girls. A lot of beverages. Lots and lots of beverages. So maybe, just maybe, if you guys are good today and chat a lot and ask a lot of questions, maybe, just maybe we'll go longer than we normally do. What do you think? What do you say about that? What do you say about that? Brian's already here. He was here an hour ago. He said, good morning. Same with Mr. Gugahan. Thank you, sir. Thank you. I appreciate you, Mr. Gugahan. And everybody's favorite, Evelyn. Everyone loves Evelyn. She is the best. No cap, okay? No cap, all right? Oh, and and look who else is here. We got Sharon is here. Good morning, Sharon. So very glad to see you. And Josephine is here. Hello, Josephine, all the way from the land down under. Howdy, Dustin, beautiful people. Grilling ribs, bacon, and steak. Yeah. Amanda is here. Hello, Amanda. How are we doing? So very glad to see you, my dear. So very glad to see you. Oh, yeah. Amanda in her photo has her beach attire. I'm very excited. I'm very, very excited that we have booked our rental for Alabama in late October. I'm excited. It's a shorter stay than we normally do, but I'm excited, very, very excited to get my feet in the sand a little bit, get away from here. It's going to be nice. Mr. Gugahan says, I finally broke into the hundreds. I woke up on Thursday morning and weighed in at 198.2. He's in Wonderland. Congratulations, my friend. Congratulations. That is a massive, massive milestone, and I'm excited for you. Thank you. Proud of you. Thank you for sharing that with us. Mr. Pete is here. Hello, Pete. How are you doing, my friend? So very glad to see you. Say good morning and happy Sunday, everyone. Yes, yes, indeed. And it wouldn't be a Sunday without Andy. Good morning, dear. How are you? I hope you and Susan are having a wonderful, wonderful day, even though she's probably still Susan the snoozing. Snoozing Susan. Woo! Christy is here all the way from the left coast, west coast, California dreaming. Good morning, dear. I hope you're doing well. And he says, recovering from surgery, and I need to help her get around. Okay, her mother had surgery. She's needing help to get her around, so she is out of her, she's in another state, helping her mom. I love that. I'm glad that you were able to be there for her. It's wonderful. My good friend Sean is here. Hello, Sean. How you doing, my friend? So very glad to see you. Hope you and Shell are doing fantastic. Aaron is here. Good morning, Aaron. I'm glad to see you, my friend. Josephine says, cool, I got off with the Pixies. I like the Pixies. I don't know if we're talking about the same Pixies, but Smoothie is here. Hello, Smoothie. Mr. John, how are we doing, my friend? So very glad to see you. Welcome. John says, I broke 200 twice back in 2022. Both times were short-lived, and within a day, I was back over 200. You know, it's okay. It's okay. It's going to be fine. Brenda Foley is in the house. Good morning, Brenda. So very glad to see you. Thank you for joining us today. And Lynn is here. OMG. Lynn is usually never up this early. Oh, my God. I think that's going to take I have to have a sip of coffee on that note. Iced coffee's good, okay? Let me tell you, iced coffee's good. Hot coffee is just where it's at. They're just different animals. They're vastly different animals. Oh, yeah. Do. Mr. Brian Doyle is in the house. Good morning. Back on the golf course. I'll be listen and play. Do you play with some buddies? You play by yourself? What's happening? Do you have some good friends, companions, people to chat with while you're out on the green? What's your handicap? What are these things? I need to know. I don't really know what I'm asking, but I know just enough golf lingo to ask some questions. Amanda is watching from Merrill, Wisconsin. I don't know where that is. Where is Merrill, Wisconsin? All right, Merrill, Wisconsin. Let's see. There's Merrill. Oh, you're way up there. Oh my goodness, you're way up north of Green Bay. Oh my goodness. Okay, you're far up there. Like, oh, you're up like, I think you're farther north than maybe like than Minneapolis. Whoa. Interesting. Well, welcome. Thank you for joining us all the way from the far north. I go up to Wisconsin, but we hang out. We don't usually go any further north than Milwaukee. We head over to New Berlin. That's where my sister-in-law lives. Donna Ray is in the house. Good morning, Donna Ray. I feel like some of you I haven't seen in so long. I've been having issues, and I've been busy the last like 2 weeks, and haven't really been able to jump into a lot of lives, and like just the baby keeping us busy. A lot of things going on, you know. And it makes me feel bad because I don't get to see all your beautiful, shiny, wonderful, smiley faces. Amy is here. Hello, Amy. I'm so very glad to see you. How many of you are planning to go to Amy's meetup all the way next year, a year from now? How many? I made the commitment that I will at least be there for the Saturday picnic. Of all of you who are planning to be there, how many think you might get arrested? Because we're going to have a party. We're going to have a good time. You know? You know what I'm saying? We're going to have a great time. Jeff is watching from his couch. Mr. Jeff is watching from his couch. Woo! Yes, indeed. Oh. Mr. Rick is here. He says, poop gas time. When I think of poop gas, I think of this.
Let's get dangerous.
Yes, that's what I mean. I don't think you can have poop gas without it being dangerous. Am I right? I don't know. I don't really know how that's just weird. I don't know. Hey, you know what? Rick's got it down. He does his thing. Carl's here. Say hello to Carl, everybody. Hello, Carl. Oh yeah. Oh, coffee is good. Rick with a left field hot take. Cereal is disgusting. Funny story about that. The granddaughter is infatuated with all things K-pop Demon Hunter. If you haven't watched it on Netflix, do yourself a favor and watch the movie. It's fun. It's cute. The songs are catchy. She had some cereal. Lucky Charms versions, the K-pop Demon Hunter version of Lucky Charms. She wanted the cereal, doesn't actually like it. I thought it was funny. I love cereal. I don't care. I can't. I am a food addicted person. And I fully understand that I'm a food addicted person. And I can't, there's no way in my brain to flip the switch that foods that I shouldn't have to make myself feel like they are disgusting, because they are not. My brain does not function in that manner. My brain does not work that way. Like this week, we went to the Indiana State Fair. I look forward to the Indiana State Fair because I get corn dogs at the Indiana State Fair. I don't buy corn dogs any other time. I don't go to the grocery store and buy the boxes of the State Fair corn dogs because they're not the same. So once a year, I get a corn dog or three from the fair because they're fresh dipped. I like them. But I mean, this is coming from a person who understands food, but I have to also understand myself. If I didn't have something like that to look forward to, then I'm more likely to then, you know what, I want a corn dog, I'm going to go get it. But knowing that I'm going to have some at least once a year keeps me from buying the stupid ones that I don't really like that much from the grocery store. Again, we have to get to know who we are. If you're a person that hates cereal, if you're the person who thinks pizza is disgusting, if you don't want to eat vegetables, and you figure that out for yourself, that's amazing, and I'm proud of you. But someone like me, I have to truly understand where I'm coming from. And I have to play, we all have to kind of give ourselves like those mental tricks we have to play on ourselves. But there's no world or wherever where I can flip that switch. Like, well, that's disgusting, because I know it's not. At least not for me. And I have to be honest and transparent and open and let you guys know this, because this is something that's true about me. Is that going to work for most of you? Absolutely not. It barely works for me. And Chris says, duck food makes you waddle and quack, quack and waddle, 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 and quack. I don't know. Don't judge me for that. I just did that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Linda McDaniel is in the house. Good morning, Linda. How are you? So very glad to see your beautiful, shiny face today. I love it. Mr. Gugahan is asking, what are your thoughts on dietary saturated fat and insulin resistance? There seems to be some solid research that shows a link between the two. It goes against what I've learned in the keto space. I think that there is a limit to how much fat a person can process in a day. Just like there's a limit of how much sugar a person can process in a day in a healthy manner. Because sugar in of itself isn't inherently poison. Again, poison is in the dose. Because is there sugar in eggs? In a manner of speaking, there's carbohydrates in eggs. There's residual carbohydrates in meat. There's carbohydrates in vegetables. There's carbohydrates in just about everything that we eat. Is meat essentially zero carb? Yes, but it's not 100% zero carb. But again, it's all in the dose. So some people may overindulge in saturated fats, and that can cause insulin resistance. And that's how we're looking at it right now, right? I don't know if we have any definitive answers on that. I don't understand, we may not fully understand the mechanism behind it. What's the threshold? What does that look like? What's that? How does that impact an individual? What determines in an individual what the threshold is? Is there a protein, fat, carbohydrate ratio that may cause that? Is it something that could it be something with saturated fat in absence of carbohydrates? If you were a person who is eating a zero carbohydrate, as close to zero carbohydrate as you can, is there a mechanism at play that would cause saturated fat to still cause an insulin response? And insulin resistance. We have to understand that there's mechanisms in place that preps the body to intake food. Whether you see an image of food, see food on TV, smell food, you're walking down the street and you smell food, you walk up next to a restaurant and you smell it, your body goes, oh, that's food, let's go ahead and get ready to eat. Now, I imagine over a course of time, if your body will smell food but doesn't get it, it will probably start to slow its insulin response. It will adapt. Again, our bodies are highly adaptable. Again, is there a level of saturated fat intake and that's bad for us? It would stand to reason, because we see that there is you can get water poisoning. You can be poisoned by too much water. So it stands to reason that anything that we take in can have a negative impact if we take in too much. Now, let's take a look here. I'm going to look at something real quick. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at something. Let's see. I'm very curious about something here. I'm going to look at something. I'm going to type in some stuff here about insulin resistance and let's take a look. What I'm asking here, what I'm looking at is, do we have an understanding of the mechanism where too much saturated fat can cause insulin resistance? And this says it doesn't have a complete answer for that just yet. Keep asking, keep digging. That's a real health, that's how real health progress happens. Let me look and ask in a different spot. Let's try something here. Okay, so I asked the same question in a different place. It says, yes, scientists have a very good understanding of the specific molecular mechanisms that explain how excess saturated fat can lead to insulin resistance. Normally, when you eat carbohydrates, your pancreas releases insulin. Insulin acts like a key that unlocks your muscles and liver cells, allowing sugar, glucose, to enter and be used for energy. However, when there is too much saturated fat floating around, it jams and locks those cells. Here's a breakdown of exactly how this happens inside the body. Now, I'm not exactly sure if this is the same mechanism, if it's pulling from the same pieces of information. So, when your cells get flooded with more saturated fat than they can burn, they start storing it inside muscles and liver cells. It does not belong. This is called ectopic fat accumulation. As the cell tries to process this excess saturated fat, it creates toxic byproducts called DAGs, diacycloriols. I don't know. I am not very good at pronouncing this stuff. If I haven't heard somebody say it before, it's hard for me to pronounce it just from reading it. So I apologize. Let's see. These byproducts act like glue inside the cell, physically blocking the chemical messages that insulin sends to let glucose in. So what it kind of sounds like is if you're having a lot of saturated fat as well as carbohydrates, it could increase the likelihood of insulin resistance. It also goes on to say saturated fat, specifically palmitic acid, found heavily in meat and dairy, are highly rigid and can stress your cells out. Now, I don't know. This is all just coming straight out of an AI search, so bear with me. So mitochondrial dysfunction. Saturated fats can damage your mitochondria, which are the tiny power plants inside your cells. When the power plants break down, they produce free radicals, unstable molecules that cause damage and cellular stress. The stress triggers this stress triggers a cascade of internal alarms that tell the cell to turn off or ignore its insulin receptors. So we get into some inflammation information here. So saturated fat can mimic the signals of bacterial infections in the body. Interesting. They activate specific immune sensors that trigger inflammation inside your fat tissues and muscle cells. The chronic low-grade inflammation causes immune cells to rush to those tissues. The chemical weapon these immune cells further disable the insulin signaling pathway. Now, I'm not quite sure if this is something that's been studied inside a PhD lifestyle person or a SAD lifestyle person. And I don't know how one over the other is going to impact that, okay? So bear that in mind. And I am reading this right along. This is not something that I've looked into before. This is just me looking at the preliminary pieces of information. So in addition to jamming the insulin receptors, high level of saturated fats have been shown to reduce the physical number of insulin receptors in a cell's surface, sometimes cutting them down by up to half. Fewer locks on the cell door means less sugar can get inside. So saturated versus unsaturated fats. While it is worth noting that the mechanism is highly specific to saturated fat, unsaturated fats like oleic acid found in olive oil and avocado oils do not cause the same buildup of toxic byproducts and can actually help keep the cell membranes flexible, keeping the insulin signature or insulin signaling pathways running smoothly. Now, I don't necessarily know how accurate this is and where this is coming from. Let's see. So I'm also looking here. Now, do we know if this information is from a standard American diet or a proper human diet, and would a person react the same? Let's take a look and see what it has to say. So it says it's almost all the standard scientific data showing that saturated fat causes insulin resistance is based on people eating a standard American diet where high fat, high carbohydrates are eaten together. So a person eating a proper human diet, like a well-formulated low-carb keto or carnivore diet, will react completely differently. So that's interesting. The presence of, and again, this may not be accurate at all, so take some of this information, or all of it, with a grain of salt, if you will. The presence or absence of carbohydrates changes how the body handles saturated fat on a cellular level. The two different types of insulin resistance. To understand why a person reacts differently, it helps to look at the two distinct forms of insulin resistance. Pathological insulin resistance, the standard American diet, when a person eats high amounts of saturated fat and high amounts of carbohydrates together, like cheeseburger with a bun, fries, and a soda, the body faces a massive energy overload. The trap: carbohydrates spike insulin levels. High insulin levels lock the body into storage mode and prevents fat from being burned. We know this. The result: the saturated fat has nowhere to go. So it spills over into the liver and muscles, creating a toxic gunk, the DAGs, right, and the ceramides that jam the insulin receptors. This is chronic, harmful, and leads to type 2 diabetes. Let's see. We understand that a high-fat, high-carbohydrate diet is pretty bad for us. Let's see. Physiological insulin resistance, the proper human diet. When a person cuts out carbohydrates and eats mostly animal proteins and healthy fats, the body switches from burning sugar to burning fat and ketones for fuel. We understand this. The switch: because there was almost no sugar coming in, the muscles voluntarily close their doors to insulin. The purpose: the muscles do this on purpose to pass up what little glucose is available in the blood so that it can be saved exclusively for organs that require it, the brain and the red blood cells. The result: if a person drinks a sugary drink, standard blood tests might temporarily show high blood sugar because the muscles are busy burning fat and are not ready for glucose. However, this is completely normal, healthy adaptation. It reverses within a few days if carbohydrates are reintroduced. It's pretty interesting. What do you guys think? And Rick says, there are no non-carnivore foods that taste good to me. And Brenda has a good point here. Brenda says, I would not say I'm scared of food. I'm scared of the way it makes me feel. Again, I think that people say, well, I'm not going to eat a banana. I'm not going to eat these blueberries. I don't want to have cantaloupe. I don't want to eat this. I don't want to eat broccoli. I think that there is obviously some concern there, and it's not always the surface level things that people on the outside of our community would expect. So just because you don't eat a banana doesn't mean you fear the sugar in the banana. It's just, why would I eat that? It's not giving me what I need. It's not going to benefit me today. Now, to say that some of us wouldn't eat a banana if the only thing they were to eat were bananas. That would be bananas. I'm sorry. I apologize. But yeah. Oh, Mr. Pete says, I bought a big rack of pork spare ribs on sale for $1.99 a pound. Why is this not coming up here? I want it to show you so you could read along with me because reading is fundamental. On Friday, had leftover ribs for dinner last night with a side of cold butter chunks. So delicious. Tuber chat. Kevin is in the house. Hello, Kevin. How you doing, my friend? So very glad to see you. How are you? Shared on Reddit. I'm excited about that. I'm very excited about that. I can speak English, I promise. And Pete says, John, I've been eating a ton of saturated fat for almost 4 years and have reversed, cured my type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, fatty liver, and have lost 100 pounds. I think that that's not necessarily the question that's being asked, because I think that we have to understand that there are still different mechanisms at play. Can saturated fat cause insulin resistance in a proper human diet lifestyle? I don't know. I don't know enough about that yet. Carl says, that's right, boys and girls. He said it. At the risk of ticking off the whole community, he spoke the truth. Carnivore is keto. 100%. People get mad. People get real mad. Big mad. Pete says, when I started the keto diet, keto lifestyle, I was buying the keto treats, bar snacks. That only lasted a short time. Went clean keto, then ketovore, then carnivore. And there is a natural progression there. I think that for some people, there is a natural progression. I mean, for me, it was kind of a backwards progression, because when we decided to go keto, these things didn't exist. I think the only thing that was really available at the time were Quest bars. Quest bars, I think, were the only thing that we could get that was a kind of a treat, and they're kind of gross. And then they started doing like ones that were like chocolate dipped. And then, you know what I mean? And I think Lily's bars kind of came out. There was like a little bit, like little bits and pieces started to dribble. Then it was like an explosion. And like, how an explosion goes, boom, and then it goes, and that's kind of where we're at now. I don't think there's a lot of keto products on the market anymore. They're more apt to put GLP-1 friendly on packaging now instead of keto friendly. I've seen tortillas be marketed to GLP friendly. I've seen different things that would once had keto friendly listed on it now say GLP-1 friendly. So again, they're shifting their focus on what is profitable and what is marketable at the current time. Keto isn't necessarily marketable. I've seen a lot of companies that used to have keto products or have keto in their marketing really pull that back, because the name keto has fallen out of favor. Angie is here. Hello, Angie. Good morning, y'all. Hope everyone is doing well. I hope you are doing well, dear. I hope you are doing well. Buenos dias, mi amigo Dan. ¿Cómo está? Yo todos bien? Gracias. Anyway, thank you, Mr. Dan, for being here. Glad to see you. And again, don't forget to check out Queen of Carney, her page. Make sure she's got some subscribers. Let me refresh and see where she's at. She was at 729. Now she's at 739. Yes, you guys are coming through for me. I appreciate you so very much. So very much. Thank you. Christy says, subbed. I've seen her on Insta, but didn't know she had a YouTube. Yes. I always go and look and see because Instagram doesn't pay you. You can't make money from Instagram. You can make money through sponsorships from companies outside of Instagram for what you post on Instagram with like brand deals and such, but I don't think she's big enough for that. But you can make money on YouTube and TikTok. And I think if you're going to make powerful content and content that people need to see, you deserve to be compensated for that work you put into it. You know what I'm saying? I think that that's very, very important. Now, Pete says, according to Dr. Bart K., he says that the worst thing you can do is eat lots of carbs and fat together. Oh, yeah. I mean, we've seen that for decades. Or like low fat, high carb, high sugar. Now, I think that high carbohydrate, low, like zero fat with high carb, it's kind of, your body reacts differently. But again, I think that might be a mechanism, like if you are in a situation where you have no animal foods and say like, because like in a historical context, you are in a place where you've eaten all the animals and you are trying to track more and you haven't found them. But for a month or two, you might be eating berries and fruits and random grains that you find. So essentially eating a zero fat diet, but all carbohydrates, your body probably has learned to run on that and not cause a lot of problems. But I think if you start then incorporating high fat, high sugar, high fat, high carbohydrates, like the standard American diet, even though they say it's a low fat diet, but almost everything has fat in it. You know what I'm saying? Thank you so very much, Brenda. I'm speaking the truth according to me today. How I feel today and how I see things today is what I can talk about today. I may look at things different tomorrow, and I'll speak differently on it tomorrow. But I'm going to be as honest as I can today. The Randall cycle. Yeah, let's see. Let's take a look and see. Let's look. What is the Randall cycle? Let's look that up. Let's take a look and see what that says. The Randall cycle, also known as the glucose fatty acid cycle, is a natural biochemical process that describes how your cells choose between burning sugar and glucose or fat for energy. First discovered by scientist Philip Randall in 1963, the cycle proves that cells cannot efficiently burn large amounts of sugar and fat at the exact same time. Instead, they act like a strict one-way street. When the cell is burning fat, it automatically blocks sugar from entering, and when it's burning sugar, it blocks fat from entering. How the traffic jam works, the Randall cycle is not a disease. It is a fundamental rule of human biochemistry. It works through a process called reciprocal inhibition. Blah. Blah, blah, blah. I do not say blah, blah, blah. Anyway, inhibition, which just means one fuel source actively shuts off the other. When fat blocks sugar, when your blood has a lot of fatty acids available, like during fasting or a low-carb diet, your cells pull the fat into the mitochondria to burn it for fuel. As the fat burns, this week we find out. No, it's like it's the new proper human diet soap opera. As the fat burns. Oh, let's see. It creates a chemical byproduct called citrate. Interesting. The buildup of citrate sends a signal to the rest of the cell to turn off the enzymes that break down sugar. Essentially, the cells say, I am full of fat energy right now, so close the door to glucose. This creates temporary protective insulin resistance to save that sugar for other organs, like the brain. When sugar blocks fat, when you eat carbohydrates, your blood sugar and insulin levels spike. To clear sugar quickly, your cells produce a molecule called malonol, CoA. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. My apologies. The molecule acts like a physical padlock on the door of your mitochondria, blocking fatty acids from entering. The cell says, you must burn the sugar immediately, so pull all the fat into storage. So that's kind of what we know, that there is a hierarchy or a priority of fuel burning in the body. Let's take a look at it, because I know I can never remember the order. So we know that the highest priority burn first is alcohol, ethanol, exogenous ketones, glucose, sugar, proteins or amino acids, and then fatty acids, fats, which is kind of strange, because why would we burn proteins before we burn fat? That's interesting. I don't necessarily know why. I don't know if this is actually correct. Fatty acids, why does it last? The fat is the body's preferred, most stable, and safest form of long-term energy storage, so it does not damage your tissues when it floats in your blood or sits on your body. What happens, because fat is completely safe to store in large amounts, your body will always put fat burning at the very bottom of the list. As long as there is alcohol, sugar, or excess protein present, your body will lock away its fat and wait until the other lanes are completely empty before burning. Okay, why this matters for a proper human diet. On a standard American diet, people constantly flood their bodies with a continuous stream of alcohol, carbohydrates, and excess food because sugar and alcohol are higher on the priority list. The body never gets a chance to reach the bottom of the list to burn fat. When a person switches to a low carbohydrate proper human diet, they remove alcohol, empty sugars, and carbohydrate overloads. By clearing out the top of the priority list, the body finally opens up the pathway to burn fatty acids and internally produced ketones cleanly as its primary fuel source. If you are planning to explain this hierarchy to others, let me. So that's I think that's a very important piece of information, and I think that would be something that I should make a video about. I think the hierarchy of fuel. What do you guys think? Let me know. But I got to stop and say hello to just another red shirt, my good friend. How are you? I actually know what you look like now. I saw a picture of you with Nick down in Texas. Was it Texas? No, it was Chicago. Chicago. You guys were in Chicago together. Yes, super excited for that. I hope you guys had a good time. I know you and Nick grabbed a pie together, pizza pie. Hope it hit your eye like a big pizza pie, because that's amore. Anyway. Aaron says, my kids don't start school for 2 weeks. Wow. Our kids have been in school since July the 30th. Oh, my goodness. They go back in September. I think we used to go back way back like that. We would get out in the very beginning of June, and we wouldn't go back to like the end of August, middle of August, something like that. After Labor Day. That is crazy. Sunny is here. Good morning, my dear. How are you? So very glad to see your beautiful smiley face. Glad that you have joined us this morning. Angie says, I hope you keep singing. I do sing, even though it's not very good. Brenda says, what food causes acne? Thinking I have heard dairy, asking for someone on triple B and E. From my understanding, they always just say chocolate. Like chocolate would be the cause. Like if you eat too much chocolate or greasy, fatty foods causes acne. I think it's more along the lines of too much sugar. Sugar causes acne. But I think acne is kind of a like an autoimmune response, maybe. Dairy can cause skin issues, is what Pete says. OMG, Lisa's here. Hello, Lisa. So very good to see you. And Christy says, for me, too much cheese causes acne. I used to get regular chin acne. Now it's pretty much clear unless I have too much cheese. But my question is, What is too much cheese? What is too much cheese? Sandy is in the house. Hello, Sandy. Good to see you. Linda says it's taken years to give up cream and coffee. Now black with butter and a touch of salt, blended yum. And I drank black coffee for a long, many a year. Many years I drank black coffee. Then again, keto hit, and I'm like, oh, butter and coconut oil in my coffee. Creamy, delicious. And now it's butter and heavy cream on Sundays. And then on the other days, we're going to have a nice iced coffee. Today, it's a flavored coffee, which is weird for me. Weird for me. I don't typically like flavored coffees, but there's no sweeteners in this. I don't like sweet coffee. I like creamy, decadent coffee, but no sweeteners. That's so good. Now, I've had some sweet coffees before by mistake, and I'll drink them. It makes me mad because, like, you know, I order one time at Wawa. They first opened up, but we finally got our first Wawa here in Indianapolis, or near me anyway. And I went in, and it said just coffee. I'm like, okay, let me get an iced coffee. But they have automatically have cream and sugar built into it, kind of like how Dunkin' used to do. Just a regular coffee would come loaded with cream and sugar. And I'm like, I still drank it because I don't like to waste money, folks. But I haven't bought any more of their coffee. But I do like a nice coffee from time to time. I do like a nice iced coffee. Isabel is here. Isabel. That's me, Rebel. But hello, Isabel. Good to see you, my dear. How are you? Pete says, I only have 2 tablespoons of cream in my fatty coffee deluxe in the AM and occasional cheese, but not often. Do you measure it? Do you actually pull out the measure? Is that what you do? Because I can't do that. I don't do that. I measure with my heart. Evelyn is definitely more than the best. Can you be the better than the best? Better than the best around. That's right. Andy says, I'm just listening. My mother never seems to stop talking, so I'm missing half the conversation anyway. I love you, Andy. Oh, my goodness. That's like hanging out with my granddaughter. We'll sit down and watch something, and she will just yep. It's like the aliens on Sesame Street. We started going back and watching Sesame Street, you know, because we got the new, you know, the young 8-month-old, and, you know, it's just the colors and, you know, just something to put on that if she looks at it, she might learn something. And the aliens are yip. Now, I want to talk about Sesame Street because I don't know if you guys knew this or not, but a lot of you probably didn't know this, but there was a time where Big Bird was gaslit by all of the grown-ups in Sesame Street, and they did not believe the Snuffleupagus was real. Now, how long, you say, did they do this to poor Big Bird? How long did they do this to poor awesome Big Bird, who was like 4 years old? I think he's 4. Like, how old? Like, let's see. How old is Big Bird supposed to be? Big Bird is 6.5 years old. So Big Bird is a 6.5-year-old. So they introduced Snuffleupagus to Sesame Street in 1971. And the grown-ups did not believe the Snuffleupagus was real and did not believe Big Bird until 1985. 14 years they did not believe Big Bird. The only reason the producers finally relented and decided to let the adults see Snuffleupagus is because the fact that they didn't want kids to think that grown-ups will never believe you. Because if you, as a child, think grown-ups aren't going to believe you when you tell them something, you're more likely to hide or not tell them when big, important things happen or bad things happen to you. Now think about that for just a moment. That's crazy. 14 years. 14 years. Whew. Yeah. Evelyn says, I've been subbing for a girl that had to take her teen to college, but my kinder kiddos have their first day Tuesday. Well, first after assessment day. Oh, I was wondering when you were going to be starting school. I thought you already started school. I don't know. I can't keep track of the timelines anymore. You know what I'm saying? I can't figure it out. Pete says, my daughter is a second grade elementary school teacher in Austin, Texas. School just started or starts tomorrow. Crazy. I was in second grade once. My teacher was Miss Bear Quiver. Weird name, right? I'm an hour behind still, folks. Can you believe it? I'm an hour behind. We're an hour into this, and I'm an hour behind. Oh, Risa is here. Good morning, Risa. So very glad to see you, my dear. Dan went to a Christian conference yesterday with Tim Tebow, Daryl Strawberry, Benham Brothers, and more. These motivational seminars are so important on this journey. Focus reinforcement is imperative. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Very important. Steph is here. Good morning. Finally got power after 11 days. Wow. That is insane. That's crazy. I'm so very sorry about that. Jabberjin is in the house. Hello, Jabberjin. Woo! Everybody say hello to Jabberjin and Retired Rick, too. Hello, Retired Rick. So very glad to see you, my friend. How are you doing today? Evelyn's asking, does that mean you are not spending the money? Here's my thing. I don't even know I don't have any money. Chandra's paying for the vacation. So that's what drives me nuts. Like, I want to go to Low Carb for Better Health. I want to go to all these places. But like KPL, like overall, like the hotel's like $700. Then like almost $300 for like $1,000 weekend that I get to spend 2 days of, because I'll miss the first night for the wedding. It's just so difficult. Like, it's just difficult. I don't even know what I want. It stresses me out. The whole thing stresses me out. It stresses me out. Stresses me out. Like, just too much money, and it stresses me out. Stresses me out. Money stresses me out because I don't have any. Chandra has money. I don't have any money. I mean, we have money to do things like I can go to the store and we can buy groceries and the things that we need. But outside of that, it's just, finances. Ugh. Aaron says, I love flavored coffee, but some of them impact me differently. Thus, all natural flavors are not the same. Yeah, 100%. I bought this just to try. I probably won't buy it again. I don't know. It's good, but yeah. Papa's going to hop in the shower. Well, thank you for letting us know, my friend. And then I head to work, folks. I'll be back in a bit. Carry on. All right. We'll be here waiting for you to return. Len says, you are very right. Never up in the early morning chats. You must be very special. You know, I think I am special. But not the way that you're saying. Oh. And I agree with this. So it's very important to surround yourself with people that are intellectual, pushing forward, and never stagnant. This is the pursuit of elevating knowledge. Iron sharpens iron, right? So I think it's very important for us in this community to not be stagnant, to not rest on our laurels, to not continually push forward and question. Ask questions, even when we think we know the answers. Because it's like one of the things that I was asking, one of the things that I've been wondering for a while now, like when it comes to like carnivore. And again, I question carnivore, I question keto, I question all these things because I think that we get to a point where we start allowing dogma to take over, okay? Think about a person who hasn't eaten meat for a very long time. Whether they're vegan or vegetarian or whatever, they don't eat meat, but they decide they want to introduce meat. And they have to do so very, very slowly. Or they have, you know, digestive distress and all these things, right? Even, I mean, in some cases, they may have IBS, they may have all these things, but even if you remove that from the equation, just reintroducing meat into into a person that hasn't eaten it for a while, the body has to kind of figure it out again. That being said, I often have this question, is this also something that can happen to carnivores when they have eliminated anything but primarily animal products? So they don't have any grains, they don't have any fruits, no vegetables. And one day they decide to have some broccoli, and the broccoli doesn't necessarily agree with them because their body isn't acclimated to the broccoli, and then they blame the broccoli for, well, that just must be because broccoli's poison. Would we accept that from a vegetarian if they were like, this meat didn't agree with me, so therefore meat must be poison? I think these are questions that we have to ask. We have to look at on a case-by-case basis. Now, granted, some people just can't have plants, but we don't know for how long. We have a very small group of people in our community who have been doing this for a very long time. We have Rick, who's been doing it for a very, very long time. We have, I think, Kelly Hogan maybe has done it for a while. There's a few other people, a handful of people who have been doing this for 10 plus years. Probably even fewer at 20, even fewer still at 30 years. So we have a lot of questions. A lot of things need to be answered. And again, we have to understand as well, we have to be open to criticism. And why do we have to be open to criticism? Because there's a lot of people coming to this way of eating that have questions. They're coming from decades of contradictory information. We are coming to them with information that is, for all intents and purposes, completely backwards from what they've heard for decades and decades. So they want answers. They want to be sure because they're scared. And rightfully so, because they, again, and I'm not going to stop saying this, they have zero reason to trust us. Because, again, the people that they should be trusting, the people that they have trusted for decades and decades, have been selling them, in some cases, a bill of goods. So they come to us, they kind of maybe get desperate, and they get to us. And by the time they get to us, they have become so jaded and don't believe anything that anybody says. Why would they trust us? And we have to remember that. We have to remember that a good amount of people who are coming to this community, looking from the outside into us, are terrified. They've tried everything. They're desperate, helpless, hopeless. They're looking to us, hopefully, to bridge a gap. Some of them might be looking at gastric bypass. Some may be looking at GLP-1. Some may be looking at other alternative things to do with their body, and they're trying to figure out what's best for them. And if they show up asking questions and they're met with all this resistance, if they're met with all of this pushback and nothing's ever clean enough and nothing's ever good enough, are they going to stick around? Or if they ask questions and you automatically assume that they're a troll, are they going to stick around? Not really. Probably not. And then what have we done? We've failed them. We are another group, another step in a long line of failures or people. I said that wrong. We are just another laundry list of things that have failed them. If their doctors have failed them, their dietitians have failed them, their general practitioners have failed them, the FDA has failed them, the Diabetics Association has failed them. All these people have failed them, and then they come to us, and then we don't treat them with the respect and the compassion that they deserve. We, too, have failed them just like everybody else. So when we try to be hardcore, or we try to be telling people, there's no reason you shouldn't go buy locally grass-fed farmer ranch meat. And if you're buying your eggs and bacon and hamburger from Walmart, you're not doing it right. You failed them too. We can't afford to fail them. We can't. We are the last line of defense. We're the last. People don't come to us because they want to necessarily. A lot of us got here because it was the last stop. It was this is the last station before medical intervention. I'm here because it's the last stop before medical intervention. I'm here because it was low carb, keto before gastric bypass. It was last ditch. This was the last ditch effort for me. It was, if low carb doesn't work, I guess we'll try surgery. And there's millions of people who are going to find us that way. And if we aren't there to truly be there to help them, then they're going to just consider us another stop that didn't help them. And I don't want that. That's not what we're here for. We're here to make a difference. And I'm not here to make money. I'm not here to do any of those things. But we got to make sure that we aren't failing them. Dance is very happy for this community. I'm very happy for this community. That's why I'm so protective of this community. I'm very, very, very proactive in this community. I'm very much trying to be involved in this community to try to make sure that we aren't failing people coming into this community. Steph didn't know of Amy's meetup. I will try and see if we can share that. If somebody could put Amy's meetup in the link, a link for her meetup, please, I would greatly appreciate that. Andy says her and Susan will be there in the cabins. Oh, that sounds awful. It's going to be August and it's hot and no air conditioning. No. Angie says, my hubs and I are booked for 4 days in Potato Creek. Woo. Rick says, I cook breakfast with poop gas. Oh, my goodness gracious, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Brenda says, I'd love to go, but it's just a little too far out to confirm. That's how I feel about, I mean, it's a year away. Like, I don't know what I'm going to be doing next year. I told Amy that I would commit to at least going to the picnic. Because it's like, I don't even know what I'm doing for the rest of this August, and we're almost done. We're almost done for this August. Whew. Ivy's in the house. Good morning, dear. How are you? So very glad to see you. Brian says, most morning play by myself. Unfortunately, my golf buddies passed away. I'm so very sorry to hear that, Brian. I'm truly, truly sorry for that. At least at least that I was able to get you, that you're out there still doing it. Yeah. Amanda said, yes, sir. It was 41 this morning. I'm from Milwaukee. I was born there, lived there until 37 when I met my husband and moved up north by his family. I love it up here. How are the mosquitoes? Are the mosquitoes worse there than they were in Milwaukee? Because, like, the Milwaukee state bird or the Wisconsin state bird is the mosquito. Whew, it's rough up there. Probably not as bad as Alaska, but pretty rough. Sean says, back when I used to care about cholesterol, I would eat the Cheerios with the freeze-dried fruit in it. My cholesterol was great. My diabetes was not. Yeah. Amanda says, my husband, sons, and I are planning to show up at the caveman meetup. That would be awesome. Hopefully get a chance to meet some more of you people. And Risa says, your attitude about the corn dogs is my attitude about food. Let's see. At the company picnic, it's once a year. I look forward to the shrimp skewers and all the sides. I don't make stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Should I? Probably not. But I know that if I don't give myself something to look forward to, I'm more likely to just give up and go off the rails, regardless of what I know about myself, regardless of how good I feel. Because food addiction is no joke. And I have to figure out how to live with it to make myself better. Red shirt, yeah. Nick is a pizza fiend. And he's skinny too. So I mean, that's the thing, is like a lot of people that eat what they want and are skinny don't have a fear of consequences, I guess. I could never eat as much pizza as he does. I love pizza, but I can't eat as much as he does. I had pizza one time with Nick. We were up in Milwaukee, like 2013, something like that, like 2013. It's been a long time. Barb is in the house. Good morning, Barb. How are you? So very glad to see you. Thank you for joining us. She says, I woke up late. It's 5 a.m. here. Hope I didn't miss much. No, we're just getting started. Everybody's saying hello to everybody. Angie says, Amanda, I'm in East Tennessee, 2 hours east of Nashville, 1 hour north of Chattanooga, 25 minutes west of Knoxville, It's actually not bad this morning. 65, and it'll be around 90 later today. What is it here? It's currently 63 today. I want to know like what the weather's going to be. 63 currently. Feels like 68. It doesn't tell me what. It's going to be 78 today. Real feel of 80. So it's going to be about 80 degrees today. That's not bad. It's a good summer day. Summer breeze. And Retcher says, are you talking about gluconeogenesis, synthesizing glucose from protein? Yeah, so you can produce glucose from protein through gluconeogenesis. That is correct, Retcher. Sharon says, once you become fat adapted and metabolically healthy, you can become physiologically insulin resistant, but isn't a negative, but the indicator or good metabolic health combining with, yeah. Yeah, cortisol is a problem because Ivy says don't forget about cortisol. Let us see. Karen Harrington is here. Good morning, Karen. How are you? So very glad to see you. Angie still hasn't been to a Buc-ee's. Hub says I can't even get through the Cracker Barrel store without spending money. Oh, Cracker Barrel and Buc-ee's. So Cracker Barrel is like a teeny tiny little Buc-ee's. Buc-ee's is like one giant Cracker Barrel gift shop with like sodas and chips and beef jerky walls and all that stuff. I'm trying to think how many Buc-ee's I've been to. There's two in Alabama that I've been to. There's one in Tennessee or Kentucky that I've been to. I've been to two in Atlanta, and I've been one in Austin area, the Austin, Texas area. Maybe 6. I don't know how many that is. I can't count. Sean says, Dustin's turning Sunday Fun Day into Sunday Pun Day. You know what? I am a punny guy. Punny guy. Anthony from Big Guy Grind is in the house. Hello, my friend. He says he's got to jump. Hope all y'all are having a great Sunday. Well, I'm glad that you were here for a minute. Thank you, my friend, for joining us for just a brief moment. Carl says, I had a thought recently. I wanted to run it by the community. While everything you read about states that glucose is energy, I disagree. Bear with me. It's a precursor and a catalyst, but not energy. I'm curious about that. I think our bodies have adapted to handle it, so we utilize it as an energy. Yeah, now you can see everything. Everything's packed with protein, protein, chips and protein this and protein that. It's crazy. When you look at how much protein's actually in there, not a lot of protein. Yeah, see, there we go. Mr. Big Guy Grind, Mr. Anthony's in the house. Hello, how's the coffee this morning? Thank you for joining us again, my friend. I appreciate you so very much. So Sean's asking, which is worse for you, Evelyn, Buc-ee's or Jungle Gyms? They're just different. Like Jungle Gyms is like a destination. Like you go there and you're going to find things you won't find anywhere else. Buc-ee's is just like a gigantic gas station. I mean, that's what it is, a gigantic gas station. Evelyn, we got to do a Buc-ee's date. We got to go to Buc-ee's and we get Andy and Susan and you and Carl will all go to Buc-ee's, or not Buc-ee's, Jungle Gyms one day. It's just hard because sometimes they're so busy. It's just impossible to like talk. I watched that video last night with the granddaughter. It was awesome. The bacon video from Chris Cook in Nashville. And the taco bacon. I'm not sure how I feel about taco bacon. I've just never thought two terms together. I like tacos and I like bacon. I'm sure it's fine, but I just never thought about it till you mentioned it. Risa hasn't been to a Buc-ee's either. When we finally got on the road trips, I intend to travel through an area with one, and if I know I'm traveling, I will save up for months so I don't feel guilty. It's easy to spend money in Buc-ee's. So easy. And there we go. Evelyn sharing the bacon video. Thank you. Maritza's in the house. Hello, dear. How are you? Let's see. I'm trying to squeeze through here. Let's see. Evelyn says, our calendar keeps starting earlier and earlier. This year, Christmas break will also be the semester break. Well, that's typically how it is here. So the semester usually is, that's how our schools are, to where like Christmas break is a 2-week break, sometimes like 2 weeks in a day, depending on how it falls. But yeah, that's always the end of the semester. So like you get, from school start to Christmas break is one semester, and then from Christmas break to summer break is the other semester. So we only every school district, every school I think has to have, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think every school has to go to school for 180 class days. How you break the year up over 365 days is how the schools differ. So our school will do so we get 2 weeks for fall break, 2 weeks for winter break, and 2 weeks for spring break, and 2 months, roughly 2 months, or sometimes just shy of 2 months for summer break. Yeah, some of the apartments in New York are smaller than closets, like like legitimate, like they're like oversized closets. And Risa says, after all these years, I still can't drink black coffee. It has to have something in it, a bit of sweetener or a touch of cream. Yeah. And Jeff is correct. The human body is very complicated. Now, do I think we make it more complicated by our overall food abundance? Absolutely. If we didn't have food everywhere we go, it wouldn't be so difficult. If we were living off of what was available, would it be hard? Oh, yeah. We've traded hard and acquiring food for hard and figuring food out. I think our ability to have an abundance of food has shifted what's hard. Chris Cook in Nashville is here. Hello. He said, good morning, my friend. Hello, bearded brother. Hello, my friend. So very glad that you're joining us today. Hope you and Ash and the ever wonderful Mel are having a great day, my friend. So glad that you have joined us. And Red Shirt says, oddly, I drink hot coffee black and my iced tea unsweetened, but I can't stand iced coffee with no sweetener. Iced coffee kind of needs to be cream, a little bit of cream. Reaching. Let's see. Risa says, we have a couple of different Wawa stores around us. Haven't been to one in probably 20 years. They're building a second one closer to me, just down the street. I'll be happy when they do, because typically when they open a Wawa store, it's usually like gas is a 50 cents to $1 cheaper per gallon for a couple of weeks. So we'll see how that impacts our gas prices in the area, because typically then other gas stations will have to kind of compete for a while. Oh. Jabber Jen says, I don't know if you saw my greeting this morning, but hello, Dustin. Hello, everyone. I saw you. I said hello. Jabber Jen. Yeah. This episode is sponsored by the letter P. P is for picanha. Oh, my goodness gracious, ladies and gentlemen. Maritza didn't drink coffee until it started. Yeah. So I pretty much had not, well, I take that back. I had drank coffee as a teenager, going out late at night, sitting at Denny's, smoking cigarettes like a stupid teenager. And then I kind of stopped drinking coffee for a long time. And then in 2010, I stopped smoking cigarettes. And in stopping smoking cigarettes, I picked up a coffee habit. So there you go. Yeah, poor Big Bird. Yes. Chris is talking about something here. Probably the lack of rapid steam expansion to waffle iron contact, making them eggy. Could double the protein powder and add some baking powder to help. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it took them 14 years. Well, I don't think, like, you know, like the 60s and 70s, the 70s and the 80s, they were just different. They were different. Like, I don't even think in the 70s you had to have a kid in a child seat. You know what I mean? There just wasn't a lot of thought involved. It probably was a kid going, hey, you don't believe me. That's messed up, y'all. You know what I mean? Jabber Jen's kindergarten teacher was Miss Roach. So my kindergarten, I had Miss Hannah and Miss Alexander for kindergarten. And then for first grade, no, Miss Alexander was first grade. It was Miss Eggleston and Miss Hannah for kindergarten. Miss Alexander and Miss Thomas for first grade. Second grade, I want to say, was Miss V Hill and Miss Bearquiver. Third grade was Miss Rigsby and Miss Rigsby, and there was a guy. I'm trying to think what his name was. He had a thing like if you couldn't rhyme his name. Maybe that might have been fourth grade. So it might have been Miss V Hill and Miss Rigsby for third grade. Then Miss Rigsby went to fourth grade with Mr. Voigt. Yeah, Mr. Voigt. And then fifth grade with Miss Purcell. I can't remember. There was a second teacher, but I can't remember the second fifth grade teacher. It was Miss Purcell and somebody else. But I mean, that's it. Then you get into like middle school, I can't remember. Into high school, I remember the teachers I didn't like. Evelyn's been in school for 2 weeks, but kindergarten starts later after they are assessed. Oh, that's pretty crazy. Risa says, I started drinking coffee right before pregnancy, so at 34. Mom gave me a coffee pot when I moved out, but I never used it until after I met my husband. Oh. Christy's going to go catch the sunrise. That sounds nice. Jen took her blood sugar this morning, and it was 1118. 1118? I hope that's not true. That's terrifying. I was 118. Please tell me it was 118. Okay. 118. I was like, a blood sugar of 1118. Call the doctor. Like, get some help. Whew. goodness gracious. Let's see. How many of us switched to diet soda at first because we wanted to eat our carbs and not drink them? Supersized fries and Diet Coke. I never liked diet soda until years after being keto. Like, I just didn't like diet soda. And then one day I had one because we went to Rockstar Pizza, had their keto pizza, and I was like, oh, I guess I'll get a Diet Pepsi, I guess. And I was like, this is delicious. And then it's been kind of downhill from there. Thomas, you are correct, my friend. You are correct. It's great you are alive. I'm glad that you are alive, my friend. And I'm glad that you are here. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It is always broccoli's fault. I do love broccoli. Aaron, Miss Booby Goats is in the house. Hello, hello, hello. So very glad that you are here too. Thank you for joining us. Vicky is here. Hello, Vicky. How are you? Glad you could join us. And Chris says, the dogmatic people in the community are responsible for so many people never finding help. 100%. That's just one of those things that I so worry about, because so many of us, so many people are just, there's a very small window, a very small sliver of hope that they may find help. And they find us and we don't treat them right, then they're out of here. Then we can't help them. Good morning, Vicky. Thank you for joining us. I don't know if I've seen you here before or not. If you are new here, welcome. If you are not new here, I'm sorry. I don't remember. I do try very, very hard. I try very hard to remember everybody, but I don't. I try very hard. Maritza's meetup was approved by lowcarbevents.com. It will be in the Las Vegas area on 10-3 at Buffalo Wild Wings. On 4280 South Halapai Way, Spring Valley, Nevada, 11:30 to 4:30. If you are in the Nevada area, please, please, please be sure to let Maritza know and go have a wing. Enjoy a wing with Maritza. Maybe a burger patty, whatever you want, whatever you want. Yes, if you're in the area, be sure, be there, don't be square. Aaron says, if somebody tells me they can't go carnivore, that's fine. You eat broccoli, Brussels sprouts, heck of a lot better than Kellogg. 1,000%. That's like, even Dr. Barry says, if you need to do bologna and hot dogs, do bologna and hot dogs. They don't even have to be the cleanest hot dogs. Just get hot dogs. Just get as close as you can. Because even if, say, I was looking at hot dogs yesterday at Walmart. Like a pound of S-bar hot dogs is about 30 grams of carbohydrates for a pound package of S-bar hot dogs. They're like $1.50 for a pound of hot dogs. If that's all you can afford and you have a pound of hot dogs in a day with some mustard, you're still under 50 total carbs. You're still doing so much better than everybody else. That's why I'm never going to be like, just do the best you can. And Chris says, I'm here because I was so depressed and sick of life. I was hoping that I wouldn't wake up. And low carb was a tiny hope something might work. And look what happened. Think about how that wing and a prayer, just going on, that tiny sliver of hope that Chris utilized. And now he is able to share his experience far and wide with so many people. has got a cookbook coming out. If you didn't already know that our good friend Chris has a cookbook coming out in October, if you haven't already pre-ordered it, please, please do so. Please pre-order that cookbook. If somebody could put his cookbook pre-order in the chat, would greatly, greatly appreciate that so very much. Aaron says, I can say I didn't get over 350 pounds because I ate some mini veg. Yeah, that's the thing. It wasn't veggies that got me over 300 pounds, 400 pounds. It was ice cream, and it was cookies, and it was pizzas, and all the things that we ate, and just not being able to stop eating until I was making myself having physical pain from eating so much. And Red Shirt has something here to say. Red Shirt says, one thing to say that farm fresh eggs are better than grocery store eggs, and quite another to say don't eat supermarket eggs. Like, I can get 5 dozen Walmart eggs for $7, or I can drive out in the country and get a dozen eggs from a farm, 1 dozen for $5. I can either get 5 dozen for $25 and have to go way, way, way out and hopefully find somebody who has them, or I can go to Walmart and get 5 dozen eggs for $7. In this economy, we got to do what we can do. Because not only is this economy rough, because everything's going up. Light bill, phone bill, gas bill, water bill, mortgage, rent, insurance. Everything's raising but the wages. It's crazy to think that we would gatekeep somebody being healthier tomorrow than they are today because we don't want them to go get Walmart eggs. And we're talking a percentage point. Let's see here. Let's see. Let's just say, what would be a hypothetical percentage healthier would be, how much percentage healthier would farm fresh eggs? It says, if you look strictly at macronutrients like protein, total fat, farm fresh eggs and standard Walmart eggs are 0% different. But if you were looking at micronutrients like vitamins and healthy fats, farm fresh eggs from chickens that forage outside of the pasture could be 2 to 6 times healthier, depending on the specific nutrient measurements. So 2 times healthier. I still don't necessarily know if I agree with that, but yeah. But it's leaps and bounds better. And Evelyn says, we looked at surgery, couldn't afford it. It was keto or nothing. Basically keto or nothing. And I'm glad that you are here. I'm glad that you are in my life. I'm glad you're in this community. And I'll never not tell you that. Angie says, never tell secrets from the veggie patch. Potatoes have eyes, corns have ears, and the beans talk. Mr. Gugahan is going to go watch. He's watching church online and do some grocery shopping. If you guys are still here when I get back, I will pop back on. Well, okay. There's Amy's meetup information. Please click on that and see if it might be something you would be interested in doing and attending. I will, like I said, I am making a commitment to be there on the picnic day, barring anything happening in the next year, obviously. But, yeah. Anthony, our new friend Anthony, says Brazilian steakhouse yesterday was amazing. I got I get to go once or twice a year. Yeah, I mean they're expensive, so very expensive, but worth it sometimes. If you can eat enough, then it's worth it. Coach Angela is in the house. Hello, Angela. Did I miss that? I know I saw you somewhere. Oh, my goodness. Sometimes. There we go. There we go. Made it to Florida late last night. There you go. I hope you're enjoying Florida. The palm trees, the sunshine. Yes, give me some thumbs up, everybody. Chris says at the time there were 50 watching, 32 likes. Come on, y'all. Hit the thumbs up. Let's go. Buc-ee's is a redneck dreamland, and I love it. I'm excited. This trip on the way down to Alabama, we get to stop in to Dolly Parton's new truck stop. Did you know that she had a truck stop? So Buc-ee's are not truck stops. Buc-ee's do not allow semi-trucks. Semi-trucks often have to park in parking lots adjacent to Buc-ee's, but they are not allowed on Buc-ee's property. Now, Dolly Parton has opened a new truck stop. Let's see. It is down south. It's about 22 miles from Alabama in Tennessee. Lisa's not been to a Buc-ee's yet. Hopefully you get a chance to rectify that soon. And Carl says, we were so thankful that Buc-ee's had a replacement lid for Evie's mug. Hers was cracked. And look and see like how much they charge for their lids. You guys remember what you paid? Because I love their lids. Jungle Gyms is a international market grocery store that's giant. It's just so big. Like they have aisles and aisles of different country stuff. It's kind of like a, I don't know, like a roadside attraction, but yeah. Chris says, oh, the taco bacon's where it's at. I can't wait to try it. Steph has never been to Ohio. That's crazy. Marisa says that she has been to a Brazilian steakhouse one time on vacation in Cape Cod. I told hubby I want to go to Fogo for our anniversary in November. Built one 45 minutes from us in the mall. We have a Fogo here. We just never go. Because for that price, I can get like, for the price of going, I can get like a whole picanha now. And Carl says the body has not adapted to use large quantities of glucose. Yeah, the body was never designed to use large quantities of glucose. Now, I think that if we look at a historical context of large quantities versus a modern day version of large quantities, the body was designed to handle eating just as many grapes as you could throw in your mouth, or eating as many blueberries as you could throw in your mouth, or, you know, like whatever you could find in season to prepare for wintertime. But again, like I say, we have to look at the context of what was a large amount of glucose then versus what's a large amount now. Because you figure now you can go to Dunkin' Donuts and have 100 to 200 grams of sugar in a single coffee this size. Our body was not designed to handle that. You are absolutely correct. And Risa says, anybody watch Laura Spath's video where she went to Fogo with her hubby? They showed everything they love and gave the tips to save money there. I have not watched that video yet. I mean, Buc-ee's is great because you got clean bathrooms and it's well lit. It's just we always just stop late at night when it's not super busy, but it's a good place if you have to poop. Because you get your own, like, New York apartment to poop in. You know what I'm saying? Thomas says, okay, see you later. There we go. Jerry's in the house. Hello, Jerry. I'm glad to see you. Thank you for joining us, Jerry. They are supposedly going to be opening a Buc-ee's south of Indianapolis, south of where I live, about 20 to 25, maybe 30 minutes south of me. So I would imagine that will open in probably another year or two. I don't even know what. I don't think they've even broken ground. Let's see. It's going to be in Greenwood, Indiana. No, they has not broken ground. Let's see. While the project is actively moving forward, there is still local planning, zoning, and final approval stages. Here's where the project stands right now. Recent milestone approvals. Zoning approval in July of 2026. The Greenwood Advisory Planning Commission approved the preliminary blueprints and requested to rezone the 80-acre agricultural site. The location, the Mega Travel Center, is planned for the southeast corner of Interstate 65 and Worthville Road in Johnson County. What still needs to happen before construction? Because Buc-ee's bring massive amounts of traffic, the city is working on through major infrastructure plans before dirt can actually fly. These include, let's see, getting approval, let's see, new roundabout at Worth Road and Collins Road, as well as the dedicated exit lane off of 65 to handle the heavy influx of travelers. Estimated timeline: once the city council grants its final blessing, the land deals are signed. Construction is expected to take 18 to 24 months to complete. Local city leaders and Greenwood mayor estimate realistic grand opening window of 2028. So we're not far from 2027. So about a year and a half from now, maybe 2 years. Yeah. So when finished, the site will feature a massive 74,000 square foot store, 120 gas pumps, and 42 electric vehicle charging stations. Fun bonus, Buc-ee's is also currently evaluating a potential second Indiana location further north, Whitestown, Boone County. I knew that already. I just didn't know where they were as far as the planning and the deal, the art of the deal. So that would basically be about 30 minutes north of me and 30 minutes south of me having Buc-ee's. So if you're coming on 65 north through Indiana, you'll have two chances to hit Buc-ee's sometime before 2030. Isn't that fun? I can't wait. So that means that you'll be much, much closer to those, Lisa. Lisa will have a Buc-ee's. And she's got a skedaddle anyway. Pete says, I had 4 grilled Brussels sprouts with my leftovers, made pork spare ribs, enjoy the occasional. Yeah, I mean, the thing is if we can truly sit here and say that Brussels sprouts and broccoli and carrots made, even some potatoes, like actual whole food, like boiled or whatever potatoes, are what caused our obesity epidemic, then we're not looking at the right stuff. We're not being genuine. We're not being real. There we go. Brian says 12,000 steps and 5 already and 5 holes to go. I love it. I'm so glad that you're having a great time. Let's see. Finished the dogs. I'm guessing the dogs finished a leg of lamb this morning today. We all have to enjoy picanha later for dinner. Yeah. Just Jason Keto's in the house. Hello, my friend. I'm so very glad to see you. Maritza says, I never drank diet soda, but I do drink Diet Coke or Coke Zero. I have not been drinking it for the last 4 months. I have a can of Coke Zero down here that I've been saving for myself. I do really enjoy Coke Zero. And I really like diet or zero sugar RC Cola too. It's pretty good. It's kind of like a mix between Diet Pepsi and Coke Zero. I like it. Well, I hope you have a great rest of your day, Mr. Chris, and Ash, and all the lovely people, and Pastor Bob, and all the fun stuff that you guys got going on today. Just be safe, please. Risa says, I've cut down soda consumption to 2 times a week, Wednesday and Saturday. I look forward to drinking zero sugar soda. I've been making sugar-free dirty sodas. Delicious. It is weird how dirty sodas have kind of come out of nowhere. But again, I think they're like, with companies like Swig, I think they're called Swig or whatever. They're like these Utah-based companies, these dirty soda companies that have come out. And then all of a sudden, they start, kind of like coming into the market. And because they're starting to show up in different states, McDonald's is like, oh, we can do dirty sodas too. Do you want a dirty soda? We're going to give you dirty soda. How about a dirty soda? Hey, how about a dirty soda? Risa says, I bought very clean hot dogs at Whole Foods, and we are going to grill them this week. I am a person that likes the taste of poverty hot dogs. Hot dogs should taste like poverty. I don't like bougie hot dogs. Like, the bougie hot dog that I'll eat is like Costco hot dog. It's a bougie hot dog. To be honest with you, I like S-bar hot dogs. Those taste delicious, but they're really not clean. I like the GFS, the GFS hot dogs, not the all beef ones, but the pork, turkey, beef ones. Those are delicious. Andy says, right now I'm finding my hands and my feet hurting, my joints inflamed. It must be eating something in such a violent reaction in my body. I'm eating clean, eating while visiting family. It could just be the traveling. You've been traveling a lot. I'm sure your cortisol's through the roof. You've been doing stuff. You've been to see us. You've been all over the place. You've been traveling, and your traveling isn't done. You still got more traveling to do. You've got a cruise coming up. It could just be this cortisol and all the stress that comes with it. And Angie says she gained weight drinking zero sugar sodas. I know I've gained weight with them too. I need to cut them out of my life. I need to, but they're so good. And here's the link to pre-order Mr. Chris's cookbook. Get him to the New York Times bestseller list. We can do it. He can make it happen. And Aaron says farm fresh eggs taste better. I'm sure they do. The thing is like, it's just how readily available are they for the everyday person? And they may taste better, but not everybody has access, and we've got to look at what people have access to, and we can't shame them if they don't. Cindy, hello, Cindy. And Sonny says, is the egg really better on the farm, or is it about the treatment of the chickens unless the farmer is feeding organic and are free-ranging? I mean, if they're truly pasture-raised and you're feeding them a good quality food and they're getting bugs and all the things, they're getting all the things that they truly need, then yes, those eggs are going to be better for us than the Walmart eggs. But what's more easily accessible to most Americans? And Sonny says, my views on store-bought eggs have changed since raising chickens. I don't want to raise chickens. I just don't. I don't want to. I don't have time. I don't care to do it. So I'm not gonna. Cindy says she'll watch the replay later today. Well, thank you, my dear. Hope you and Brian are having a wonderful day. I miss your faces. Let's see. Just be less fat In the book Sacred Cow, authors share the actual nutritional differences between grass-fed and conventionally raised grain-fed is relative. Yeah, I mean, there's not a huge difference between grass-fed, grain-finished versus grass-fed, grass-finished. There's less fat in a grass-finished cow, less marbling. And I mean, realistically, the idea, the reason why they are grain finishing the cow is to fatten it up, to give a more flavorful fat profile, but that doesn't necessarily change the nutrient density of the meat. They're realistically just getting more meat out of each cow. Bride's Biscuit is here. Sup, Mr. Biscuit? How we doing, sir? I'm glad to see you. So very glad to see all of you people here today. You guys joining me every Sunday makes a man feel special. It's very nice to feel special in the right way. The replacement lid for my 40-ounce was $6.99. Going there to pick it up saved us the shipping fee. Oh, yeah, I bet it did. And Mr. Biscuit says, hello, wishes for a joyous day for you all. Yes, 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 yes. Is Amy's event on low-carb events? It should be. I do not know for sure. Let me check. It's next year. So let's see. What does look and see it? Does it go all the way to, let's see. Let's see. Yes, it is on there. It is August 2027. Return to the cave. And then January 2028, low carb Boca Raton. Low carb USA Boca. That's crazy. All the way in 2028. Man. $99 to $499. Oh, I'm too poor for that mess. Just be less fat for me. Fogo is a no-go. It's just kind of expensive. Marisa says Fogo is about 10 minutes away, but I can't afford it. Now here's so Dan says, you know, you're definitely onto something because whenever I eat there, even if it's carnivore, my weight goes up the next morning. Now, say your weight goes up a pound or two. Did you eat 7,000 calories enough to gain 2 pounds of fat? No. Is there a small amount of inflammation? Maybe. A little water weight gain? Maybe. But my question is, isn't that something that, I mean, I understand that you're more of a clean person and you're very conscious, but I wonder, like, is that something to be overly concerned about? I'm just curious. Jason says, we're going to check out the new Buc-ee's in Ohio on the way home from KPL. Yeah. And Maritza's drinking the second cup of coffee. I love it. Yeah. Buc-ee's meetup. Yeah, I mean, it is. I mean, you guys could but really, you could just kind of park in the back of the parking lot and just hang out and talk. Tailgating at Buc-ee's. They may get mad about that. I don't know. Maritza pre-order Chris's cookbook at Barnes & Nobles. I like Sprite Zero too. Rick says, Muscovy duck, the other red meat. Rick is looking forward to someday having his own meetup. That would be so much fun. And Sonny says, I watched The Bearded Butchers They compared grass-fed finished cow to a grass-fed grain-finished cow. The grass-finished had less fat, marbling. Interesting to see the. Yeah, I mean, we know that. And I mean, and not everybody likes the taste of grass-finished beef. Some people, most of us like grain-finished because that's what we are accustomed to eating. So, Rick, I have a question. So you want to move away from where you live. If you could move anywhere, where would you move to? I'm very, very curious to see where you would like to move to. Mr. Biscuit says, my kids are back in NYC public schools the Thursday after Labor Day. I restart my degree program next Monday after a 40-year break. Huzzah! I love that. Aaron says, all is well now, bacon thawed and cooking. Rick, Mr. Twinbook Acres is in the house. Hello. So very glad to see you, my friend. And Maritza loves duck and goose. Lance is in the house. Hello, Lance. Good to see you, my friend. How are you? Rick wants to move to Miami in 1950. I'm sure you would be much happier to living in the. I wonder if you really would be happier living in 1950. I wonder the people who think, the people who want to live in the past, if they really would be happier living in the past versus today. I honestly wonder if people truly like how we think that today is so bad, but it's like leaps and bounds better than it's ever been in history, I think, regardless of how you look at it. I mean, crazy. I don't know. Oh, my goodness. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, 2 hours and 12 minutes into the day, into this live stream. How are all of you? How are you guys doing today? Just to kind of revisit, we've booked our Shannon booked our Alabama vacation. Let's see. We've talked about not fearing food, but more so looking at the benefits, the pros and cons of what we do choose to eat, why we choose to eat it, making sure that we do talk to people and have them understand why we make the choices that we make, and not just tell them what they should or should not eat, but tell them why you eat what you eat, and give them a legitimate benefit of the doubt, a real explanation of why you do what you do. And, nutrient density, the way you feel, autoimmune, all the different things, can you tolerate fruits and vegetables? Do you not tolerate fruits and vegetables? Not just an oversimplified do this or do this, but why? But I also understand that we have to meet people where they are. We have to understand that people are going to have different requirements, different perspectives, different things. You think about like the single mom who's working 2 jobs to raise kids and their kids are in sports and their kids are doing this, and there's little to no time to do anything but just get by, right? We have to understand those folks as well. When we talk about the differences between keto and carnivore, keto gets a bad rap from a lot of carnivore people because there are keto products on the market, but that's not keto's problem. That's a marketing problem, and carnivore people get upset because there are keto products on the market, but that doesn't negate the powerful benefits of a ketogenic lifestyle, because we have to also understand that carnivore is also a ketogenic lifestyle. I'm trying to just kind of go over here. Metabolic flexibility. We have to, you can make your own glucose. All the things that we've talked about today. And, you know, if you're new, you're just watching this for the first time, again, let us know where you're watching from. Comment if you're watching the replay. Let us know. Are you keto, carnivore? Let us know. Let us know. Let us know. What are your goals? So, you know, just one of those things. Like, you know, what do we take away from this morning? You know, so I don't think we need to be afraid of food. I think we need to understand it. We need to understand what we're eating, why we're eating it, how much we're eating, how it makes us feel, and whether it's actually helping us move forward and you know, in the life that we want, right? Does it help us to our goals? These are important questions. There's a massive difference between saying this food is evil and saying this food doesn't work well for me. That distinction matters, especially when we're trying to reach people who are just beginning to question everything that they've been told. And remember, there's always somebody new walking into this community. Somebody who has never heard the things that we've been talking about for years. Somebody who might be terrified of giving up bread, but willing to give up soda. Somebody who isn't ready for carnivore, but ready to cook at home. Somebody who isn't ready to eliminate fruit, but is ready to stop eating candy. We have to leave room for those people. If we really want to help millions, we can't make the doorway so narrow that nobody can get through it. So let's keep sharing our experiences. Let's keep learning. Let's keep questioning. And let's keep helping people take the next step. I'm Dustin. This is Sunday Morning Coffee, and I'm really glad that you are here with me today. And I'm excited that all of you are here with me. And just in time to say goodbye is Brett. Mr. Brett's in the house. Don't forget that Mr. Brett has a spice blend that he sells on eBay. Be sure to pick that up. Just search Hoosier Carnivore Spice on eBay and you can find and purchase that from him. It's okay. He said he's sorry that he's late. He slept in. That's okay. All of us sleep in. I'm tired. Probably go lay down for a little bit. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Oh. Vicky's about to head to church. Well, thank you again for joining us, Vicky. Truly appreciate you. Thank you all so very much. And Mr. Biscuit says, that was my whole childhood. I felt bad for Big Bird. It was somehow relatable. Yes, it was so very relatable. Just crazy that I didn't know. And Hoosier Carnivore Brett says, we're all in the same struggle, whether you're keto or carnivore. It's all a part of the spectrum of the proper human diet. And I hope that is something that we can continue to spread. I think that's where I'll leave you all today. That's what we need to make sure that more carnivores understand. More people understand the fact that people are coming into this community and they don't know what they don't know. And if we can't help them find a path, they may just give up and go back. And with that, I love each and every one of you so very much. Thank you all for joining me. Thank you for your love, your support, and for keeping me accountable. And for that, here comes these wonderful credits. I think they're pretty sure they're updated to the most recent members. But if not, I apologize if I've missed any new members. Anyway, I love you. Have a great one.